Well, it's still only Wednesday and the game is on Sunday, but we've already got big news. And this is a significant update for the 49ers entering their playoff game against the Cowboys. And that is that, according to ESPN's Ed Werder, who spoke to the man directly, Trent Williams intends to play against the Cowboys. He has an elbow injury. It was so bad that it kept him out of the game against the Rams on Sunday, even though Williams did everything in his power to be able to play in that game. He showed up to SoFi Stadium early on Sunday, just couldn't get that elbow good enough, feeling good enough so that he could protect himself and protect his quarterback. But there's going to be an extra week of rest now before this game against the Cowboys, where the 49ers will need Trent Williams just as bad, if not worse, than they did against the Rams. And he is confident that he's going to be ready. In fact, the quote is a classic. This is what Ed Werder relayed on Twitter. I spoke to 49ers left tackle Trent Williams, who missed practice today and last week's game against the Rams with an elbow injury. He made it clear he intends to play Sunday against the Cowboys, believing a brace and adrenaline will offset any remaining issues with the elbow. My addition to that, a brace and adrenaline, the story of the 2021 49ers. Seriously, I mean, you sound like a badass when you say that a brace and adrenaline is all that it's going to take to get you ready to play an NFL game. Good for Trent Williams. Good for the 49ers. Obviously, nothing confirmed yet, but I think if Trent is talking like this on Wednesday, if he knows how close he might have been ready to play on Sunday, then you have to trust his word for it. And the 49ers badly will need him out there. In fact, I'll go as far as to say this. Trent Williams playing is probably necessary for the 49ers to have a chance to win this game on Sunday. Because last week, Colton McKivitz, who was the 49ers starter at left tackle instead of Williams, he fought hard and the 49ers won. But Dallas is very strong on the edge. And I know that the Rams have Von Miller. I know he beat Colton McKivitz last week. I know they have Leonard Floyd coming off the edge. But when you think about the Rams, you think about Aaron Donald, and he's obviously an interior pass rusher. When you think about the Cowboys defense, which is a good one, leads the league in takeaways, is up there in sacks, you think more about the edge rushers than you do the interior. That's Micah Parsons, Demarcus Lawrence, and Randy Gregory. Those are the top three guys, and the Cowboys will still come at you with Dorrance Armstrong. I mean, they'll come at you in waves, but the three studs at the top, Parsons, the rookie, 14 sacks, Demarcus Lawrence, he's been around forever. He's a sack machine, and he could stop the run. And Randy Gregory can do a little bit of both too, but Gregory especially can get after the passer with some long strides. I mean, you're looking at a 6'5" edge rusher who is a problem. So you need a competent, big, athletic tackle to be able to take these guys on, to make sure that they're not nailing your quarterback from the blind side, right? And the Cowboys, they lead the league in takeaways for a reason. They have 34 takeaways this year, and it's fueled by their edge rush. Trevon Diggs has 11 interceptions. He wouldn't have 11 interceptions if Michael Parsons weren't roaring around and harassing quarterbacks, if Demarcus Lawrence weren't doing his thing, if Randy Gregory weren't doing his thing. And the 49ers, they played the game against the Rams with two backup tackles. They were playing with Tom Compton on the right side, with McGlinchey done for the season, and Colton McKivitz, who hadn't played a snap yet for the team in 2021, on the left side. In fact, McKivitz, up until the game against the Rams, had never taken a snap in his NFL career at left tackle. Almost all of his action had been at guard, and he got 3 games at right tackle as a rookie in 2020. So the 49ers were playing with fire against the Rams, and McKivitz gave up 4 pressures. On Garoppolo's first interception, it was McKivitz who gave up the pressure, and Jimmy got drilled as he threw the ball. Massive sack on the 49ers' second to last possession of regulation from Von Miller. That was Miller sprinting around Colton McKivitz. Now, you have to give McKivitz credit for holding strong at the very most crucial junctures. He didn't let the Rams get to Jimmy Garoppolo on the 1-minute-long drive that tied the game. While the 49ers were coming back from 17-0, they made it 17-3 before the half, then 17-10, then 17-17. McKivitz did his job. And the 49ers, with their complex run scheme, especially in that third drive to make it 17-all, where they ran 10 straight times, and McKivitz got in guys' way, he was there to make sure that the 49ers ground some meat, got that ball down the field, and he was fine in the run game, and he did just enough in the pass game, but I can't emphasize just enough. I know how to use enough twice there, but just enough doesn't necessarily mean sustainable, right? The 49ers are playing another good defensive line, and there's a reason why Trent Williams might be the best player in football. And there's a reason why he's the highest paid left tackle in the NFL. And that's because he's a valuable player, and the 49ers cannot expect sustainable success up front unless they have him in there. That's why they forked over all that money. So to beat this takeaway machine that is the Dallas Cowboys, the 49ers absolutely need to have Trent Williams in there. Otherwise, they're going to have to try to pull a rabbit out of the hat again, like they did last week against the Rams. With a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo, who's got a quick release, Kyle Shanahan talked about this today. That quick release, he got rid of the ball from snap to throw, averaged 2.4 seconds last week, which is really good. That can, hide a lot of pass protection deficiencies. But, you can run, but you can't hide forever from these things, right? It's one of those situations where the tackle position in the NFL is so important because it is the only ticket to sustainable offensive success. If a quarterback is being pressured around the edge by these monstrous edge rushers that have taken over the league, if you don't have a good counterbalance to be able to take on those edge rushers like the Cowboys have, because their defense is built like the 49ers defense. Dan Quinn comes to the Seattle tree. He knows what that 4-3 is about. He knows how important that pressure from the edges is. If you don't have a counter to that, eventually you're going to get exposed. You can scheme around it. You can release around it with a quarterback who can get rid of the ball quickly like Jimmy Garoppolo in the short term, but you certainly can't do it for an entire playoff run. So that's why this news right here is absolutely vital for the 49ers. And I think we should take Trent Williams' word for it. He didn't practice on Wednesday, but I would expect to see him either out there in a limited capacity on Thursday and Friday, or I would expect to see him on the field, just depending on what's more important for him as a veteran. He might take a little bit extra time to do some rehab work instead of being out on the practice field this week. You don't worry if Trent Williams isn't on the practice field. He's a guy that's going to be able to step onto the playing field on Sunday and dominate regardless of whether or not he practices during the week. The guy is a complete freak. He, again, is one of the best players in football, if not the best player in football. There's an argument to be made there based on how good of a season Trent Williams had at left tackle. He was the first guy in PFF history to score 99 over the course of the entire season. But if he's out there on Sunday, as he intends to be, he'll be ready to give the 49ers a boost that I honestly think they would not be able to win without. All right, as we talk about Trent Williams, let's make this interactive. Open this up to some questions. What do you guys have to ask about this? And I already see one right here. Intend only, if he doesn't play, it'll greatly compromise the 49ers' already not so great chances. Well, the 49ers' chances are fine. They're 3-point underdogs in this game. They're the smallest underdog out of any of the playoff games this weekend. So the tightest spread is in this game. Over the past 11 games, the 49ers have the best record in football at 8-3. That's since the game at Chicago. So I don't think there's any reason to think that the 49ers are in a hopeless position entering this game at Dallas. In fact, this is a hot team with a talented roster. They just knocked off the Rams on the road. The 49ers absolutely have a chance to win this game. Now, I do agree that if they don't have Trent Williams, it's going to be hard to win this game. But intend to play on Wednesday is a whole hell of a lot better than last week when Trent Williams didn't say anything on Wednesday. It was suspiciously quiet throughout the week on the Trent Williams front, and that ultimately led to him not playing against the Rams. So I think you should take him going out of his way to talk to Ed Werder, saying that he intends to play and to have details to back that up. He says he's going to have a brace on and he's going to use adrenaline. I think those intentions, that vocalization from Trent Williams means a whole hell of a lot more than the silence that we heard last week. It probably means, the silence meant a lot too, but in the wrong direction. So what Trent Williams just said to Ed Werder means a whole hell of a lot more in the positive direction for the 49ers moving forward. And let's be honest, it's only Wednesday right now. He can't actually commit to playing on Wednesday. He doesn't know how the week is going to progress, but he can sure as hell intend to play. And I think that's a good step in the right direction for the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo's finger is looking good. In fact, we could probably take a look at my Twitter and at a video from practice to give you guys a look at what happened today. So here you go. This is 8 seconds of Jimmy Garoppolo just throwing downfield, one pass. I have some more on the YouTube channel, so subscribe and watch that. But a good touch on a pass downfield. If you guys want to watch that over and over again, we will. Trey Lance through that same pattern, similar result. The receiver caught it in stride. So Garoppolo's finger looks fine. He doesn't look bothered by it. He didn't look bothered by it in practice last week. And I do think that Jimmy Garoppolo actually threw a little bit more this time than he did last Wednesday. So he came out of the game fine, and we'll continue to monitor it, but definitely not as obsessively as last week. This is Chris Kocurek, 49ers defensive line coach on the left, and Daryl Tapp, assistant defensive line coach in the gray on the right, doing some cross training for the 49ers, working with the defensive backs today at practice on ball punch out drills. See the 49ers punching out the ball there on the tether. So there was intensity today at practice under the sun. I got a couple of videos for you. As always, subscribe. Make sure you could watch these videos as they come out. I try to edit and post them right after practice, but the 49ers looked like they were excited about what's next today, and that is Dallas in just a few days. Aziz Al-Shire, that's our next question. Will they play? Or you asked about K'Wan Williams too. Aziz was limited in practice today. K'Wan Williams was at practice. You actually saw him in that most recent video that I just posted, knocking the ball out. I would expect K'Wan to play. Aziz is still in the questionable category for me. Obviously, Dre Greenlaw came back, and Kyle Shanahan was very happy with Dre Greenlaw's play. Obviously, don't want those personal fouls. Shanahan said that it looked like Mike Tyson put on a football uniform and was hitting for the 49ers with Dre Greenlaw. And, I think that's true. Shanahan said that if he was wearing a jersey as a fan, he'd be wearing the 57 against the Rams. That's how much Dre Greenlaw popped off the screen and impressed him. And I thought it set a tone for the 49ers. Despite the 2 personal foul penalties, I thought that they needed that physical tone against the Rams to ensure that they would again be the tougher team. Ed Nesbitt asks, will Trent Williams still dominate on the line with the injury? I think if Big Trent plays, he's going to dominate anybody. And it's going to be a hell of a matchup, whether it be against Parsons or DeMarcus Lawrence or Randy Gregory or all of them. That is a great matchup, but Trent Williams has earned his stripes. I think he's one of the best players, if not the best player in football for a reason. And that's because he can win marquee matchups. Remember when Bosa worked against him in training camp? It's almost like Trent Williams was like Darth Vader in Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, fighting Luke with one hand. He literally was fending Nick Bosa off with one hand. So Williams is special. You don't see a guy that big who can move that well, who has that kind of technical acumen ever, really. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. It's an illustrious career. It will continue in all likelihood with him playing through this elbow injury with a brace and adrenaline on Sunday. All right, so I promised that we would go over a 49ers-Cowboys memory at the end of each of my videos, because as you know, I wrote this article right here about the rivalry of the 1990s between the 49ers and the Cowboys with Steve Young, Charles Haley, Emmitt Smith, Deion Sanders, Michael Irvin, Ken Norton Jr., and Steve Young diving across the goal line. So today's story is going to come from the 1992 NFC Championship game. That's the one that the Dallas Cowboys won. The 49ers were actually favorites before this game. It was the first of 3 NFC title games that the 49ers and the Rams played in. Before the game, Jesse Sapolo told the media that the road to the Super Bowl goes through Candlestick Park because the 49ers had home field advantage. This is before the playoffs. I shouldn't say before the Super Bowl. So before the playoffs, that's what Jesse Sapolo said. So fast forward to the NFC title game at Candlestick. Cowboys, 49ers. Footing is bad. The 49ers actually had a truck in. The NFL did because it was so unacceptably bad. The sod, the turf at Levi Stadium. The NFL had a truck in new turf from Southern California after all these rains in the Bay Area to replace the parts of the Candlestick Park field that were damaged by rain, that were too slippery. So there were parts of the field where there was new turf, and there were parts of the field that there was the old, really slippery turf. And Jimmy Johnson, Cowboys coach, day before the game, made sure to walk around the field and see exactly where the turf was new and where it was still the existing turf. So he would know where to scheme his plays so the 49ers defenders might slip. Lo and behold, climactic moment of the game. It was 3rd down, and the Cowboys were in a situation where they were trying to ice the victory. Late in the 4th quarter, Jimmy Johnson schemed up a play that went right to the part of the field where the old turf still existed, where it was still slippery. He had Troy Aikman throw to Alvin Harper. Alvin Harper took it like 75, 76 yards to set up the Cowboys' final score of the game, and they won by 10. 49ers went home, and before they went home, they got really angry on the field because Mark Tuinei was Jesse Sapolo's friend. He was the Cowboys' offensive lineman. Walked up to Jesse Sapolo, and he had remembered what Jesse Sapolo told the media, that the road to the Super Bowl goes through Candlestick. And Mark Tuinei told Jesse, hey, Jesse, we're going to the Super Bowl. Thanks for the directions. And as you might imagine, this did not make a big 300-plus pound offensive lineman like Jesse Sapolo too happy, especially since Mark Tuinei was his friend. And, best friends go at it when there is a disagreement. Jesse Sapolo ended up chasing Mark Tuinei all the way back to the Cowboys locker room. I'm not sure if he ever caught him, but he ended up chasing him all the way back to the Cowboys locker room in his rage after Mark Tuinei said, thanks for the direction. So quality trash talk between the 49ers and the Cowboys. I'll have another one of these stories every single time we do one of these videos the rest of this week before the big game, which I hope is kicking some nostalgia into gear for all of you. All right, everybody, thank you. I noticed I just got a tip. That's kind of funny right here. I will put this one up from 49 Lakers because I really appreciate the tip. There's a misconception. I'm not a Jimmy G supporter. I just cover the game. I love football. I cover the 49ers as neutrally as I can, and I think I just try to lay out the facts as they are. The problem with the Garoppolo discussion is that it's become so polarized that people think that if you're just neutral, you're not trashing the guy, that you're supporting him. No, when Garoppolo does something poorly, I'll say it. When he does something well, I'll say it. The problem is in the course of balanced coverage, there aren't enough people acknowledging when he does something well, or at least up until this game. Now a lot of people seem to be on the Garoppolo bandwagon. I'll just keep on playing it right down the middle. And the 49ers have a good quarterback who has some flaws, but boy, is he executing Kyle Shanahan's system. So thank you to 49 Lakers for the tip. Really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I hope that you all enjoyed this update on Trent Williams, because it is a big deal. In fact, this might be the biggest news of the week. Trent Williams intends to play versus Dallas. It's 49ers-Cowboys week. More content is coming soon. Everybody take care.